Hello and welcome to FGC Philosophy. My name is Taven the Philosopher Napier, and this is where we level up inside and outside the virtual arena. Now, today's episode, I'm really excited to talk about. I wanted to talk about this last week, but I lost my voice last weekend, and you can kind of hear it's still coming back, but I really wanted to record this as soon as possible, get it to my editor. Shout out to him. Links to his services down below. But yeah, over the weekend, I went to a tournament in South Bend, Indiana. There's a college called Bethel University that invited us and 8 other colleges for Overwatch and Rocket League. And we brought teams for both. We actually brought 2 varsity teams for Rocket League, Team Gold and Team Brown. We brought our varsity Overwatch team, and there's actually a club Overwatch team that we kind of came with. We covered their entry fee, but they covered their own travel expenses and everything. But we all went together and competed and represented our university. And I want to talk about that experience. I want to talk about some of the things that I learned, how the tournament went, my voice going out, and just kind of the overall experience and share that with you, because I think it's important for me to reflect and talk about the things that I've been going through and learning and doing, so that I can continue to improve and so that I continue to help other people improve as well. But for those who don't know me, my name is Tavian Napier. I am the Assistant Director of Esports and Arena at West Michigan University. I'm also the founder of the Kalamazoo fighting game community. Needless to say, I like competitive gaming, I love video games, and I do a lot in the industry. And so I have some expertise. You know, I've been working in production, I've been working in tournament organizing, commentating, competing for a long time now. And I've developed, some rapport, some mastery of skills, and I think that I can provide some value to people interested in the field or interested in bettering themselves. So that said, let's hop right into this conversation and talk about the event. So Bethel is about 2 hours away from where we live, and it was a pretty simple trip. You know, I've driven to some other colleges or tournaments in the past, and like bad weather and such, and this was pretty smooth. Like, I couldn't complain. A little bit of rain, but man, you know, it was great to hang out with the college students, talk. You know, they're over the top. You know, I'm a generation removed from these kids, so like I'm close enough to them that I can understand a lot of what they're saying, but like still generational and regional gaps, differences, it's sometimes a world apart, and it's just interesting hearing them interact. We also got to take pictures and take video that'll be up later on. So hopefully by the time this episode is uploaded, I'll have some video for you guys to check out on our official YouTube channel. But yeah, the funny thing is when I got there, and I think this is on video somewhere, but I'm walking into the building for the tournament. This is on Friday morning, like Friday at noon-ish. By the time we got there, we left around 10, got there around 12. My voice goes out as I walk into the building. So literally when I get to the tournament, my voice goes out. So communicating was like, my voice was gone. Like you couldn't hear me if you weren't close to me in a loud room. Like, it just wasn't possible. So I had to work around that. Like I had another coach that was with me, and he's very like strict and can be loud. So luckily he did a good job. Coach Evan really helped me out there. But also talking to my other students and being like, hey, tell the other students this, because I just could not talk. I wanted to commentate, I wanted to help with production, but that sort of just ruined anything outside of just doing my job and, going to the hotel room. But yeah, so we went there. Day 1 was the round robin phase, and I think overall it went really well. The Overwatch team, I want to say they won all of their games and was seated like tied for first with one other team, which I think was Bethel. And then our Gold Rocket League team was undefeated. And then the Brown team, I think, went 3-2. They lost to our Gold team, and then they lost to UMU. I can't remember what it stands for. I can't remember what UMU or whatever, what that college stands for. I know they're like a black and purple college, but they had a pretty solid team. My main focus was working with the Brown team this time. I felt very confident going into this that the Gold team was going to win the tournament, no problem. Like, that was where I went with it, and I made sure to communicate that, and if I noticed anything, I talked about it. But for the most part, I let the Gold team do their own thing, and then I let the Brown team, we talked about certain areas because they are still developing. They're not as strong of a team. Their average rank is lower, but they have a lot of potential, and so I wanted to work with them more than anything else. That was like my main focus going into this trip, and I think we made a lot of progress as a team. I think there's a lot of insights, and the motivation is there. So they're in a right position to improve significantly. And I think this is a very fascinating process to watch, especially when your teammates are helping you out, because there's been kind of a cascade effect since that event and even before then as well, but definitely afterwards where teammates are invested in helping them get better. Unfortunately, the Brown team took fourth. There was one match, they had to play UMU again in the bracket, and they wound up losing, but I don't feel like they lost, and I think they feel the same way. We talked about this. They didn't lose because of being outplayed. They sort of beat themselves. They weren't doing the things they knew they were supposed to be doing because their mind just wasn't in the right place. And we've continued to talk about that topic. We've watched some scrims that they did afterwards, and we've talked about it. And one of the teammates, Rennet, he did a really good job of talking about positioning and rotations and like had a actual visual to help them understand like how to go about doing that. And I really appreciate that. I think that was a really great job. From my point of view, I try to help them have the right mindset to go into things and let them figure it out on their own. I don't have the same level of expertise as some of my players do, and I let them lean into that. And it's really good that they're taking advantage of that. In my opinion, my job is to help them prime their minds to be looking at the right information, to be looking for the right information, to be retaining the right information. So yeah, that's where a lot of my attention was, and we spent some time having some really good conversations, and I was just really happy with how they received it. And they were receptive to the information, but they also felt like they were ready to utilize that information. And it's not an easy overnight sort of thing. Changing your mindset or developing new habits, it's really frustrating. And I like to use meditation as an analogy because it's so blatant of an example for those who have meditated for a long period of time or have experienced meditation to some degree. You can kind of relate, where when you're meditating, there's these things that tend to happen, some commonalities with people who aren't familiar with meditating. When you first start meditating, your mind is going to wander a lot. And for a lot of people, you're not going to recognize this happening, or you're not going to really know what to do with that. And then as you stay with meditation, you start getting frustrated because you're recognizing your mind is wandering. And the more you recognize your mind is wandering, the more you try to control it. And the more you try to control it, the harder it gets to get your mind to relax. And it creates this really frustrating loop where you're recognizing you're getting distracted, but you can't control it, and you're just getting mad because you're not seeing the progress that you think you should see. And I think that's a great analogy for improving in competition, whether it be games or sports or whatever, because you recognize what you want to do, but you can't get your brain to do it in the moment because you're nervous, you're distracted, you're getting emotional, you're mad, you're sad, whatever it may be. And it's really hard in the moment to not default to your normal, like standard operating procedure of your brain. Like you want to do these things, you want to ball chase, you want to just mash your combos in a fighting game, whatever it may be. So that conversation was there, and I feel like their brains are primed to really improve. They just need to put in the time, build new habits, and replace the bad ones that they had. And that's really exciting. I'm really excited to see the Brown team grow. They're all, two of them are freshmen. They're going to be sophomores, and the other one is a junior going to be a senior. So they all have another year together, and I want to help develop that team. When we do our tryouts and such, we're going to see if we get any new members that might gel a little bit better. But if not, I'm not expecting to find any strong players. I feel like we have a good, strong roster right now. We're going to have 5 players, and I'll need to fill with at least one more player and maybe a sub or two for each team, gold and brown. But that said, I'm just really excited to see the individuals grow, but also see them grow as a team and take that knowledge to whether they have new teammates or newer, less experienced teammates that they might have to mentor. Because some of these players, they have some really good skills. Like I think one of the players, Redo, he's a freshman. He has really good communication skills, really good comms in the game. And he can be a really good in-game leader and really help comm for the rest of the team that can't comm as well. You'll hear me say comm a lot. That means communication. That means, communicating with your team. If you think about, if you've ever heard a competitive game, you hear them giving information or giving commands and things that are happening. That's genuinely what comming is. And it's a very important skill to have depending on the dynamic of your team. And I will say that Redo is one of the best players. He has like some of the best comms on our gold or brown team. So I'm excited to see him get better. I think the other 2 players have really great mechanical skills and are very knowledgeable and just have good instincts. And so it's just, I'm really proud of their performance. I am a little bit sad they didn't get as high. Like I wanted to get third. I thought that they could get third. I still believe they could have got third, but they just weren't able to maintain their composure as well as they could have. But I'm still proud of them. They did a really great job. Now, the gold team, I don't know what really to say. We went in there. Like I said before, I was really confident that we were going to take it, and I don't think there was really a team that gave us a challenge. And that feels good in some ways, because I always want to get better. I don't want to have a big ego. Winning is always great, and it's great to take home a trophy. Having a first place trophy, taking that home, that's good job security for me. So I can't complain. I'm feeling really happy. I'm feeling really good as a coach. That we're getting results and we're getting consistent results. And so it's like the best of the best teams are the ones that we're using as targets. Those are the schools that we want to play against. And they had good teams here. Do not get me wrong. I'm not bashing any of these teams, but I try to be a very objective guy when it comes to competition. I don't like to inject a lot of my emotion, because when you start getting emotional, when you start getting affected by opinions or even facts about things or trends, it's just not productive. And looking at the trend of some of these teams and their performance in the past and our performance, it's like it just seemed like common sense that we were going to take that one. And I think a lot of these teams are motivated to improve and have the potential to beat our team. But where we are right now as a unit, they worked so well together. They've worked and grown so well as a team, and they've played such strong teams in the past that we've been to the trials and tribulations this year. And this was just like a testament to our progression over the year. I mean, we got third place in the MAC. We qualified for CRL. We probably could have won another tournament that we chose not to go to. That's as of recording this, it would have been this weekend, Easter weekend, but we chose not to go because it's Easter weekend and we didn't want to go to that competition. But we definitely could have taken that one, and I think we have one more in Indiana to go to, and we'll see how we do there as well. So yeah, overall, the gold team just did a fantastic job. They took home the trophy, and I'm just super proud of those guys. And then the last update I'll mention is Overwatch. I don't coach the Overwatch team, but I oversee the coach that coaches the Overwatch team, and we wound up taking second in that one. And I don't know how to feel about that one, because I felt like our team definitely could have won. But at the same time, getting second from 8 other colleges is not bad at all. But the thing that hurts the most for me is that we got second last year. And I know that some of these players really wanted to take first this year because we had some graduating seniors who are really strong players. And I know that they really wanted to take that victory and take it home. So I feel bad for them more than anything else, because I think they played fantastic. I got to watch a lot of their matches. I didn't catch all of the finals, unfortunately, because we were celebrating our first place trophy and getting some food because we hadn't eaten all day. So we were at Portillo's eating some food real quick, and then caught the tail end of the game. But unfortunately, our Overwatch team wasn't able to take the victory. It's a little sad, but they still played very well. And, I got to see Bluefin, Trevor, do commentary. He did a good job with commentary. So overall, I feel like all the students had a great experience. The club didn't perform super well, but they had fun, which is really important to experience in these tournaments as well. I'm super grateful to have been invited by Bethel University. I think they put on a good tournament. They improved since last year. Their communication was better. I'm really excited about the next one that they do. Hopefully we get invited back and we take home another trophy, because we're starting to stack up our trophies. We took home a first place trophy and a second place trophy this year. Last year we took home a first place trophy, 2 first place trophies, which I think the Smash players have the first place trophy, and then the second place trophies, I think we took. Oh, no, I don't think there was a second place trophy last year, so there wasn't any second place trophies, but we took home technically 2. But the League of Legends one that we won last year is basically my windowsill with all the other trophies and such, which is a really cool view, in my opinion. Super happy right now until we get a trophy case to actually put them in the lobby. So overall, I feel like the biggest thing that I didn't really discuss too much, and I won't go into super far detail, is the administrative part of organizing this trip was very stressful to me. I had to get a company credit card, 2 company credit cards for different occasions. I had to make a request to do travel authorization. I had to help with getting the rental vehicles, and that was kind of a hectic situation. Booking the hotel fees. These are things that I never really had to do before, but now I'm responsible for doing those. And it sounds really simple, but certain things just stress me out. Like a lot of administrative work and financial work just stresses me out. I'm responsible for the budget, as I've talked about before. So during that trip, I took some time in the hotel room to like build a spreadsheet for a budget for travel expenses and everything, so that I can keep track of how much I'm spending while I'm there and overall, so that I can see how much I have left in the budget. That stuff is crazy to me. Like the fact that I'm doing that is just beyond me. Like that has seemed as a, like looking at myself from a kid's point of view when I was younger, or like a teenager or a young adult. The fact that I'm responsible for as much money as I'm responsible for is just like, I'm proud of myself that I'm able to actually do that, but it's also just beyond like imagination for me that I'm in a position of authority to be doing that, right? I just, at the time when I was younger, didn't think that I would have this opportunity. And now where I'm at now, it's like the sky is the limit. I still have a lot of growth to do, and it still stresses me out, and I get nervous, and I have that imposter syndrome that kicks in. But the fact that I'm in this position is just nuts to me. And I'm very grateful, and I'm grateful that these students get to have this experience, and I get to help provide that for them. So I hope to continue to win. I hope to be able to continue to travel and take home trophies and let these kids have great experiences, because I'm just super thankful. Unfortunately, I was sick for most of this experience, so I was pretty like jaded and like not negative, negative for me, negative for the philosopher, but not as negative as the average person might be. So overall, it was just a really, really great experience for the students and everything. And I'm just glad they had a great time. Everyone got home safe, and we took home some trophies so that we can brag to the higher ups. So that said, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Sorry this episode is shorter again. I'm still recovering. My son is now sick. My wife and I just got over being sick. I'm taking medication so that I can get my voice back and stop coughing. So I'm just trying to take care of myself. My health is my biggest priority right now. I have a physical trainer, or physical therapist, I should say, and a personal trainer once my physical therapist clears me of, my injuries and such. So stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you guys so much. And as always, I will see you all in the next one.